This is a quick demo of a new feature that we have in Zipline, which is the Zipline Claude skill file. It's a way to give Claude the tools it needs to effectively author Chronon configurations using Zipline. So let's do an example, and let's actually start with a chaining example. So here I have a couple tables in BigQuery. This is a user activities table that also has a streaming topic associated with it. And here there's a dim listings table. And so we'll do a chaining example because this is kind of something that's a little bit tricky to author manually sometimes because it involves combining a few things and getting a lot of column names and transformation names correct. So let's see how Claude does at it. So basically what we'll say is something like this to Claude. Help me author the following Zipline pipeline. Take user activities from this user activities table and enrich them with details from the dim listings table. Then perform an aggregation on user to get and let's just say the number of times that a user has viewed or purchased, I'll say actually viewed and purchased items in each primary category. So this is kind of a complex one because it actually involves bucketing as well. Make the join streaming, find the right Kafka topic so that updates are in real time as well, just to make it a bit more complex. So we're going to go ahead and throw this at Claude. And basically, there's two skills that we've given it, two tools in the toolbox that's going to make it do this effectively. And you can see that it's doing one of them now, actually, which is essentially this, which is the table discovery. So it's finding this user activities table, pulling a bunch of metadata about it, including partitioning fields, schema, that sort of thing. And it's going to use that to make sure that we author things correctly. And then the next skill that it's going to do is the Zipline eval skill, which I've shown in a previous demo, but we'll see that again here in a second. So you can see here it's taking a parent join. Okay, it found the correct pub subtopic. It's using the correct user activities table. We already have an export for it, so it identified that correctly. And it is pulling some of the right information here. And you can see here it's taking the primary category. So yes, that looks fine, I think. We'll validate, it'll go ahead and validate that as well in a second. Okay, and now it's doing the chaining step. So it's taking that user category parent. And you can see here it's doing if event type is view, 1, else 0, and doing the same thing with purchase events. And it is correctly bucketing these by primary category. So it's gonna basically, this is the aggregation that we asked for. And it picked some window sizes because we use these a lot in the repo. I could, guide it here further, but let's just go ahead and say that this is fine. And so, yeah, so now next it's going to go ahead and, compile these files that I just wrote. If it has any errors at this point, it'll fix them. And now it's going to do the next step, which is to call eval here. And eval is going to tell it whether or not these are successful. And actually, at this point, we can come over here and kind of take a look at these files that I just wrote. So here's actually that chain group by, and this is the eval tool that it was calling. I can also run it here if I want to see the results. But yeah, this is essentially going to take the inputs, and again, this walks all the way up. Walks all the way up the graph. Walks all the way up the graph to find sort of the input tables and infers the transformations that happen at every stage. So it's saying that, okay, there's a schema here at listings, then there's a schema after we perform this group by, And then there's the user activity schema, and that goes into the join. And it's going to make sure that the schema is valid at each step of this transformation. And we can see here we have the output schema. And so this guarantees that the whole graph that we just created is semantically valid and it can run. And so by giving Claude these skills, it basically makes it so that it can run all those validations and make sure that what it's producing for you is semantically sound and valid, and it's going to do what you asked it to do. So it won't have any kind of hallucinations and any sort of issues that it encounters. It can fix itself and validate that the fixes are correct. So here it gives you an output example. So yeah, I mean, at this point, we're essentially good to run this, and so we can kick off a run here. The nice thing is that we are guaranteed that this is going to work because Claude and the eval tool have validated that everything it wrote is valid, valid Chronon config that's going to run. And so yeah, you can see here that basically what's happening is that now the orchestrator is running this chain join, or rather this chained group by. And of course, this gets into another side of nice thing about Zipline, which is that it can kind of orchestrate these chained flows for you. So in this case, it knows that for this 1 day of group by backfill that we wanted to run, it actually needs 30 days of the underlying join. So it's going to start by backfilling those, and it knows that it can already use the raw data for these, which I run via export, which is great. And then it'll kick off the last 1 day of group by. So it can both author and orchestrate these chained flows for you. Yeah, that's all.